Trapping like the narco. Got dope like Pablo. Cut throat like Pablo. Chop trees with the Draco. On the north got Diego. Say hasta luego. We'll be in rapping kilo. Snub nose with potato. Straight out the jungle.
I'm Receiver Maya.
I'm Anish Chatalavada.
I'm Savannah Moss. I'm from Palo Alto, California.
Jacob Cutler.
I'm an 18, majoring in computer science and economics, and I'm from Arizona.
I'm a senior, and I'm a psych major with double minors in education and public policy.
I'm 18, from Bethesda, Maryland. I'm majoring in history and Arabic.
I'm a computer science and economics double major. I'm an 18 from Simsbury, Connecticut.
No, actually, I do not.
Yes, I've seen the heavy murals before.
I do, but I haven't seen them.
No, I'm not familiar actually.
It's actually pretty disheartening for me, especially, because the founding of the college is supposed to be like something that's very great and to be celebrated, but I guess from how it was actually founded and displayed in these murals, it's very oppressive to the Native American people, and it seems like Elysia really took advantage of them in a way.
I don't know when they were made, but I assume they were at the time intended to, in some ways, celebrate Dartmouth's origin. They probably did it in a way that was maybe appropriate whenever they were made, but is no longer appropriate.
I think the purpose of the murals were to add images to a very famous Dartmouth drinking song. And I think it was made for the white males that were attending Dartmouth at the time. And it was not made with any consideration of the people they were depicting.
So I think the purpose of the murals was to depict the founding of Dartmouth, although it was appears to have been done in a pretty satirical and also really offensive way. I think it was trying to capture the main elements of a sort of characterization of the elements of the founding of Dartmouth through one particular artist's viewpoint, and this particular viewpoint implemented like some caricatures of Native Americans that sort of depicted them in really, really unflattering and offensive ways. It's kind of eye-opening because it seems like Dartmouth's history is something that we really celebrate, but when we look at murals like these, which were painted a long time ago, we can see that there's some oppressive characteristics associated with that sort of time period. And although today this is something that wouldn't be generally accepted, it's really it's eye-opening, like I said, to see that this was a characterization that one artist decided to make during that time, which is kind of paints Dartmouth actually in an unflattering light since it's so closely affiliated with our own history.
A more traditional or past version of Dartmouth, and I hope that it's a version of Dartmouth that we've moved past and that no longer represents our school. But I do think it's concerning that that is in our history and isn't always addressed. Very few people know that the heavy murals exist and that those images were once really celebrated on our campus.
I don't know, I think they're interesting. I think it's cool to see that they exist, how people made them, that they thought at a certain point in time that this was something they wanted to portray about Dartmouth. I think that's pretty interesting to think that at a certain point in time someone thought this is what they should be portraying, and thinking about the shift from that being appropriate to that no longer being appropriate.
I don't think that they should just be completely erased and like from memory and be forgotten forever, because I think it's a good learning point too, going like, you know, as you learn from history and like where things went wrong, it's always good to keep those lessons at the back of your mind. But like if they were, you know, shown in like public spaces, like in fraternities or FOCO or wherever they are, I think they should definitely be taken down from there.
In the past, they've been covered up. They also are only currently accessible if you like go with a professor. I think that the heavy murals should be accessible to all students, because I think that it's an important part of our history, and that we need to look at them and reflect on what Dartmouth has been and what Dartmouth should be in the future. I think it's something that we should use as like a learning moment and a growth point to kind of pivot and think about how we can improve our campus going forward. I think covering them would be pretending that that part of our history doesn't exist.
On the one hand, I think they should be public because they're, you know, they're artwork like anything else. Artwork can be offensive. At the same time, they don't affect me as like a student. They're not, to me, they're not going to make me feel unwelcome here or something. Like, I could see them making somebody for whom that feels more personal feel unwelcome, and like, so yeah, I don't really know if they should be open to the public or not.
So I think that we need to be careful to not like sort of move towards a revisionist history sort of perspective. We don't want to destroy pieces of artwork like this. I think they shouldn't be displayed sort of prominently because of how offensive they are, but I don't think that destroying them sort of removes the fact that these were painted and are affiliated with Dartmouth's history. Just getting rid of them doesn't change the fact that they were painted. I think they could be used more as like a sort of education mechanism where people could be taught about how Dartmouth's history and how it's represented might not be as clean as it's always portrayed, and we can learn a lot from that. Even though like some forms of art and some writings in our history and our country's history are offensive and sort of mischaracterize people's, I don't think that their destruction would be beneficial to us, rather than sort of learning from them and, you know, doing better as we move forward.